Shock new update has the reservation team on the Curse of Oak Island drills to an unusual depth and finds evidence of treasure. Now the big question is, could this be it? This new discovery on the Oak Island proves that there will probably be no Season 12 of the Curse on Oak Island. Keep watching to find out this new discovery. After months of searching and drilling, Rick and Marty finally find the treasure they were looking for. On this island, the crew has been looking for the rumored wealth, and it seems that they have made some progress in their search. A visit to the money pit has been made by Marty and Rick in order to evaluate the progress that has been made with the garden shaft probe drilling operation. After arriving in the money pit region, Rick and Marty are going to check on the progress that has been made with the probe drilling operation. At this point, they had reached the approximate depth of the tunnel that is supposed to travel directly westward into the possible treasure zone. Whether they are able to locate the structure and break through it in order to discover what it might hold is the most pressing question. They are required to pack up their equipment as today is the final day of the situation. They have, however, not been successful in locating what they were seeking for. They are eager to discover what they would discover at the bottom of the garden hole when they visit Oak Island because the island does not readily reveal its mysteries. At the bottom of the old shaft, Rick and Marty are standing on thick planks in the murky water. They are in the exact same position. As part of their search for the fabled riches that is said to be located on Oak Island, they are employing a detector. They come to a target that appears to be promising, and they have the strong belief that it might be the treasure. However, they are also frustrated because it is the end of the year, and they are unable to explore the deeper levels of the shaft. They are delighted about the find, but they are also frustrated. They are in the process of preparing to pull down the board and extend the shaft when Gary interrupts them. Gary finds a non-ferrous head through the roof, which causes them to be interrupted temporarily. Once the crew has gained an understanding of the significance of the discovery, they are aware that they will have to wait until the next season to proceed with their mission. While Chuck, the main investigator, was filming the discovery from the war room, he made a note of how far the treasure is from the surface, which is a huge obstacle. Rick and Marty are thankful for their adventure, despite the obstacles that they have encountered, and they express their gratitude to the members of their team, particularly their nephew Peter and their buddy David. According to their plans, they intend to investigate it further and determine what information they can obtain. They were able to reach the target depth after drilling for around 3 inches. When they reached a depth of around 93 feet, they assumed that they had arrived at the precise area that they were looking for. Absolutely flawless in each and every respect. After reaching what is thought to be the approximate depth of the tunnel that leads directly west into the potential treasure zone, the most pressing questions that they are currently facing are whether or not they will be able to locate the structure and whether or not they will be able to study what it might contain. Because they were under the impression that it was the final component, they made the decision to disassemble the components and do additional research today, at the very least before the sun set. In addition to removing the rods and beginning the process of clearing out the file, they simultaneously placed everything in a container and evaluated the situation to determine what was visible. It may be said with absolute certainty that Oak Island does not readily reveal her secrets. They had a strong desire to gather any and all information that they could uncover and, if at all possible, figure out what the piece of wood was that was buried at the bottom of the garden shaft. After drawing a blank, a member of the team was certain that he had hit wood on the northern side of the board, despite the fact that he had drawn a blank earlier. Despite the fact that he was not hit by the bullet directly, he went through the tunnel without any problems. However, he did not sustain any injuries as a direct result of the gunshot. After that, they suggested that they might use it to project the line of the tunnel if they merely approached it from the side. This transpired when they came to the realization that it was possible. At this point, they had not yet carried out a bottom investigation in order to ascertain the specific placement of the tunnel. Following the activation of their protection gear, they proceeded to down the shaft. They could not have even in their wildest imaginations guessed that this moment would come about, even if they had given it some thought. Following such a long period of time, it was almost as if they were reliving a fantasy from their childhood. Now, in an effort to extract these valuables, they are traveling into the money pit's depths, putting themselves in the same dilemma as those who have come before them for literally hundreds of years. In spite of the fact that time is running out, there is no way that this issue will be handled in the near future. There is a high probability that whatever it was that was supposed to be discovered in this shaft was placed there on purpose in order to make its finding easier. In this particular moment in time, they were of the opinion that the utilization of a metal detector would be beneficial in some way. In light of the fact that they had a limited amount of time remaining, they made the decision to request that an experienced member of the team utilize metal detecting equipment in order to inspect the cavity and see what they could discover. After what seems like an eternity, it seems that they are finally coming closer to discovering the genuine treasure. In appearance, the landscape appeared to have been carved out during the Middle Ages. During the time that the Templars were in power, it was almost as if they were being held captive while they were confined within a fortress. Despite the fact that they were still trying to figure out what was in the hole, they had a sneaking hunch that it contained a significant quantity of contemporary nails and wire. Their possession of the CTX 3030, which not only made it possible for them to make this discovery, but also included all of the bells and sirens that are connected with distinctive characteristics, was an exceptionally fortunate circumstance for them. They came into instant touch with something, but it was not a target made of materials that were not ferrous. They hypothesized that it might be gold, silver, or even copper, but they were unable to be absolutely positive. Is it even remotely feasible that they discovered traces of the legendary riches that were supposed to be concealed on Oak Island's murky soil at the very bottom of the garden shaft, which is only a few feet below the surface of the ground? If so, this would be a very remarkable discovery. There is also the potential that the signals are being transmitted through what is now believed to be a tube that stretches in a westerly direction towards the baby blob and is situated approximately 10 feet below the surface. This is another possibility. It is a moment that is both bittersweet and bittersweet because Dumas does not have the appropriate legal authorization to expand the shaft further at this time of the year. This makes this moment both bittersweet and heartbreaking. In addition, they cannot put their team's safety or the continuation of the project in peril by attempting to break through the bottom of the shaft in order to study what might be possibly unstable terrain below the level of elation that they describe when they talk about a non-ferrous hit. This would be a risky move. The discovery of a non-ferrous strike, on the other hand, is a cause for celebration because it reveals the existence of a metal that is not ferrous. The occasion is both exhilarating and sad because Dumas does not have the legal authorizations necessary to extend the shaft much further at this time of the year. This is the reason why the event came about. The shaft cannot be extended at this time of year because there is no longer any prospect of doing so. Being forced to accept the fact that this objective cannot be achieved is a very disheartening revelation to come to terms with. If the glacial tumulus system and the series of water-filled anhydrite holes that are situated beneath Oak Island are both responsible for the recurrent flooding of the pit, then it is possible that both of these factors are responsible for the flooding. Located on top of a tumulus system that was created by glaciers, Oak Island is a place of great significance. Oak Island is composed of a number of tumuli that were created by glaciers over the course of time. When exposed to water, this specific type of limestone has a high propensity to dissolve into the water. This process, which can lead to the formation of caves and other natural cavities, has the potential to result in the formation of these natural cavities during its course. There is a possibility that bedrock can be discovered at depths ranging from 38 to 45 meters, which is comparable to 125 to 148 feet, in close proximity to the excavation pit. People have been actively hunting for treasures and relics ever since the 18th century, and they have exerted a tremendous lot of effort in order to find them during this time period. There have been a number of different sorts of relics that have been suggested to be located on the island. Some examples of these kinds of things include the Holy Grail, manuscripts written by Shakespeare, pirate treasures, and the Ark of the Covenant. As a brief overview, this video follows Rick and Marty as they travel across the island in pursuit of the fabled wealth that is said to be located on Oak Island. In the most recent episode, the team has arrived at the Money Pit area and has dug to a depth that is about equivalent to the depth of the tunnel that is thought to lead directly westward into the treasure zone. Despite this, they have not been able to locate the structure, and they are eager to continue their investigation at the bottom of the garden column. In the course of their investigation of the shallows, they discover a potentially valuable target using their detector. This target could be the treasure. Gary, however, finds a non-ferrous head through the roof, which causes them to be interrupted in their train of thought. After coming to terms with the significance of the discovery, the group is aware that they will have to wait until the following season to proceed with their search. It is brought to Chuck's attention that the treasure is located a considerable distance from the surface from the battle room. Even though they have experienced some difficulties, the hosts are enthusiastic about what is to come and are grateful to their community for their support. Enjoying this video up to this point? Have you subscribed yet? In order to be notified when the next discovery video is released, it is imperative that you ensure that this is done and that you activate post notifications. A sizable number of individuals would undoubtedly make an effort to acquire at least a portion of the money that is said to be in existence. However, due to the fact that it is difficult to forecast, it is impossible to determine which of these persons will be successful. When all is said and done, the Lagina brothers and the government are the two entities who are most likely to reap the benefits of the money. It is not possible for either of these groups to declare on their own that they are entitled to the potential benefits that come with riches. Each of these parties would be entitled to a portion of the money that would be possessed by them, and there would be a genuine claim to such a portion. In no way should this be the complete amount. On the other hand, the only thing that one can use to determine whether or not a situation similar to this one will ever occur in the curse of Oak Island is as time goes on. This is the only way. Subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying it so far. The research team then gathered in a room to discuss their results and observations as soon as they had completed their work. They believed that things would be different the following time around, despite the fact that there were some disappointments. Despite this, there was still development. They not only show their appreciation to the community for their unflinching support, but they also make the announcement that they are getting closer and closer to finding the ultimate solutions that could finally break the curse. As they bring the quest to a close, they are also making preparations for the next phase of the adventure, which is expected to be launched in the spring of the following year. The hunt is now complete. The hosts are expressing a general sense of excitement about what is going to take place in the future. Do you want to know what they found? Click on the next video now.